Greetings Realm Lords, COR Bricks here, and today I am recording from a slightly different location. Instead of recording down in my basement, I am up here away from the Lego game, but in a room that has much better lighting. I might stick around up here to record videos. I don't know, we'll see. Let me know what you guys think. But I don't really have a choice today anyway because it is super freezing where I live, and so if I'm recording down in the basement, I have to turn the heat off because it makes, the furnace makes a noise as it's running down there. And if I turn that off, my wife's gonna be very upset with me because it's gonna get really, really, really cold in this house really quick. But I kind of like it up here. The lighting's a little bit better. I at least have something that's kind of board gamey in the background. So I don't know, let's see how it works. Now, if you've been following this channel, I've already posted several videos where I've looked at the game board for this big Lego game that I've created, and we've looked at some of the units in that Lego game and a little bit of how it works and operates. But we haven't really actually taken a deep dive into the rules. How do you actually play this game? And so today is going to be a day where we start looking at how one plays a game of the Circle of Realms. So whether you've been following this channel or you're brand new to it, quite frankly, this is as good a video as any to watch. So let's just go ahead and dive in and take a look at how we play the game. Now today we're going to look at the basics of the game, and so to do that we need a little bit of help here. So let's call upon our faithful leader of the Custard Kingdom, King Mateo de Leon. He can help us out, and I don't know, maybe also his son, Prince Jalen. And let's throw in a few Kingdom archers just for good measure. 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. All right, let's get into it. Now I'm going to skip over the first page of the guide, which you can find on www.circleofrealms.com. If you go there, you can check it out and see it all in full. But I'm going to skip over the first page or the first couple of pages because they really just deal with what is the game and how do you set up the game board, which quite frankly I don't think we're too interested in right now. It's pretty straightforward stuff. You're going to have some decks of cards, you're going to put down some units where they start, and you're going to get into things. Now the most important thing you're going to want to know to start playing a game of COR is how a turn works, how a turn looks. And to do that, first let's take a look at when your turn is going to be. Your turn is determined by the faction that you play as. So if you play as, for example, the Custard Kingdom, and you scroll way down on their information page, you will find at the bottom a little hourglass symbol with a number next to it. That's the faction's initiative, and really for this, the lower the better. Now, every faction has a different initiative number ranging from 1 to 10, because there are 10 different factions. And this basically tells you what your turn order would be in a game that had all 10 factions. So the Custard Kingdom would go 10th if 10 different people are playing. Now, you're not really typically ever going to actually have 10 people playing. So what this really just tells you is that the Custard Kingdom will go last. And that makes sense because the Kingdom is a much more defensive team. But if we flip around and we look at a very offensive team, the Kingdom of Anacria, we'll see that they go first in the lineup. They always go before everybody else. And all the other teams fall somewhere in between. So the Bloodless Rebellion would be going 3rd, and the Wormland Raiders would be going 6th, and so on and so forth. So if you're actually interested in playing the game, then what we need to look at is we first need to look at what a round is. There are a bunch of rounds in the Circle of Realms. A round is going to be when you're going to get your chances to do your turns and do different things to accomplish your objectives and win a game of Circle of Realms. Now, I don't have a limit on how many rounds there can be in a game. There's no timer, there's no countdown to the end. Like I said in one of my earlier videos, this is a marathon game. It's a very long game. It's one that you come back to for multiple sittings, almost like a Dungeons and Dragons session. Not quite as long as that, obviously, because it doesn't go on for years, but it's still got some length to it. The game basically goes until the other players have capitulated and surrendered, or until you just kind of smash them into a pulp with your superior forces and strategy. So what is a round? What does a round consist of? A round is a sequence of 2 sets of turns. Every player gets to do 1 turn, and then when that ends, every player gets to do a 2nd turn. And then when that 2nd turn ends for the last player, then the round is over and a new round begins. The reason why every player gets 2 turns in a round is because a round is essentially like a 48-hour day period. And everyone's first turn happens during the day. And then everyone gets a 2nd turn, and that one happens during night. A turn during the day is a normal turn. Normal rules apply, nothing special. A turn during night is a little bit more interesting. Nighttime turns mean that your characters are going to be dealing less damage. They're going to be less likely to hit very hard. They're also going to be less likely to get hurt themselves from a counterattack. Basically, when it is nighttime, it is harder for your units to see on the battlefield, and as a result, it's going to be harder for them to hit and be hit. So if Jalen wants to do battle with this snake mercenary, that's not going to be an issue during the day. He can attack at his full force. But if we turn the lights off, if it gets into nighttime, he's going to be likely dealing less damage. At least the attack that he gets to roll is going to be reduced. But the chances of someone hurting him back are going to be reduced as well. And we'll talk about how that works when we get into our stats a little bit later on in this video. Hey, my friends, if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like button. And if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe if you're interested in seeing more about the Circle of Realms, if you want to learn about how we play the rest of this game, because we're not going to get through all of it today. Now, when your turn comes up, regardless of whether it's day or night, you've got basically two different options. You can choose on your turn to research a technology, and that is something that we will talk about in a later video when I talk about buildings and technologies. Or alternatively, you can issue unit commands. And issuing unit commands can be the much more common thing. Most of your turns are going to be spent issuing unit commands. If you go this route, you can do 4 unit commands in one turn. You can always do only 1 unit command with a hero. So, for example, if we're looking back at our fight here between Jalen and this snake mercenary, we could do 1 unit command with Prince Jalen against the mercenary. Now, alternatively, maybe King Mateo is there as well to help out his son. We could do that unit command with King Mateo instead. But we are going to have to choose either Jalen or Mateo because we can only go with 1 hero for a unit command in a turn. But as I mentioned, you get 4 in total. So what about the other 3? Well, the other 3 unit commands can be used with non-heroes. 3 different non-heroes can take unit commands as well. So if we want to give this snake mercenary a really bad day, maybe we can throw in some non-heroes for him to go up against as well in the same turn. So let's throw in a couple of kingdom archers onto the field. Now, your 3 non-hero unit commands don't have to be from the same kind of unit. So we don't have to go with all kingdom archers. So maybe let's throw in a couple of monkey knights as well. So now we've got this poor snake mercenary. He's surrounded by Prince Jalen, King Mateo, 2 archers, and 2 monkey knights. He's in a rough situation. Now, the kingdom player can't go with all of those though. Like I said, they only get 4 unit commands. 3 of them have to be non-heroes, and 1 of them has to be a hero. If you don't have a hero, or you don't have enough non-heroes, then you can't do all 4 unit commands in a turn. That being said, we can do any combination of unit commands. So maybe we want to attack with Prince Jalen, 2 kingdom archers, and 1 of the monkey knights. That gets us 1 hero and 3 non-heroes. Or maybe we want to go with Prince Jalen and just 1 of the kingdom archers and 2 monkey knights instead. That's also a valid combination. Or maybe instead of Jalen, we'll go with his father, King Mateo. As long as you've got 1 hero and 3 different non-heroes going, then you're good to go. Now also keep in mind, these unit commands can be anywhere in the entire game world, so realistically, you won't typically want to go with all 4 units right next to the same enemy. You'll probably have a few that want to go over there, and maybe you've got some other units that are doing things halfway around the world. Who knows? So if we think about our game now, we've got rounds, and every round is broken up into 2 sets of turns, 1 day and 1 night. And then every turn is either going to consist of researching, or it's going to be broken up into 4 different unit commands. So let's take a look at what a unit command looks like. The first phase of a unit command is always rearranging the unit's inventory. So at this point, a unit can pick up an item on the battlefield, or they can pick up multiple items on the battlefield. They can equip an item onto their character. They can equip multiple items onto their character. They could drop an item. They can even give an item to another infantry unit that is next to them. There's no limit on how much of this a unit can do. They can rearrange their inventory completely. They can just swap out 1 item. It doesn't really matter, but they have to do all this before they actually move anywhere on the field. So they're basically limited by where they are at that point. The second phase of every unit turn is always going to be moving. So a unit's going to move. After moving, your unit gets 1 final action. They can rearrange their inventory a second time, or they can attack a unit that is in attack range. They can also do a special attack, like Jalen's Hawk Strike, or they can cast a spell if they are a unit that has spells available to them. After a player has done that with all 4 of their unit commands, then the player's turn is done and it moves on to the next player. Now, rounds are important for some other things too. There are certain effects that happen every few rounds and such, some abilities and things of that nature. So keeping track of the rounds is important for those reasons. And very broadly speaking, there's a couple things that will always happen with rounds. Most teams, after a certain point, get the ability to commune with witches every 10 rounds, on the 10th round, 20th round, and so on once they've researched a certain technology. So then you can use that to commune with this guy, the Plane Walker, or other witches that are across the battlefield. These are the individuals that give you quests throughout the game, which are very important for getting a leg up on the enemy. Starting at the 10th round and every 5 rounds thereafter, you'll be drawing different environmental effect cards for the different 4 regions in the Circle of Realms, like this awful solar flare that this Kingdom Archer managed to get himself caught up in the middle of. But once again, that's kind of more of an advanced concept, and we'll talk about that in a later video. All right, well, I'm just about out of time for making this video. So in the next few weeks, we'll look at a little bit more of the rule set. We'll look at the stats for our different units and how you move them exactly across the field, and of course, how combat works. And then after that, we'll return to our friends over in the Cursed Kingdom and see what they're up to. So if you want to check that out, make sure that you're subscribed so that you see those videos as they are released. Also, I know I formatted this video a little bit differently. Let me know in the comments below what you think, if you like this kind of style where I've got like a bunch of images moving around the screen and I'm up here talking in front of this kind of better lit room, or if you prefer it when I'm down there physically interacting with the game board in real time as I talk to you guys. Outside of that, be happy, be healthy, be well, and I will see you guys next time in the Circle of Realms.